Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for attending this session this afternoon. The session is AI in Cybersecurity Operations. My name is David Santaramo. I'm the security architect for Mainline Information Systems. First, I want to take a moment and thank the team from Marist for pulling this event together. I know it was very difficult to, you know, to make the switch from an in-presence event to a virtual event. But I hope that everybody takes the time to view the presentations and to stick around afterwards and ask some questions if you have anything. So I have to say we are living in truly interesting and challenging times. Organizations are looking at adopting AI into their business processes, everything from supply chain to HR to IT, and in particular, and as in the topic of this conversation, there's cybersecurity operations. So some of you might be wondering, what is cybersecurity operations? What does that entail? Really, the focus that I see, as part of the topic of this conversation is, the daily identifying and responding and remediating security events that are in your environments. That is, the events that come up via your various tools that you have, or your managed services or things like that. But most of the time right now, most organizations are still in that firefighting mode when it comes to cybersecurity operations. You get a message, you get a text message or something cryptic or something like that from your SIM that's telling you something's wrong, or something's not working correctly, and then you go and remediate it, and you address the issue and you remediate it, and then you move on from there. What AI is going to bring to cybersecurity operations is the ability to not only, respond, but also to remember. I think of it along those lines. It's going to remember that it saw this event at a particular time on your network, and it might be days, weeks, months in the past, and it was able to help you correlate some of this information. So, I'm going to walk through a few things like, the agenda today. It's about me, and a little information about my background. It helps to set the table, part of the conversation we're going to have about mainline information systems, about what is AI ops. You'll hear that term, as we kind of work through the conversation. It's a common term you hear nowadays in the news, where the present state of cyber operations is. How most organizations are, responding to security events, how AI will work with cyber operations, and then finally, what to expect and how to move forward in adoption of artificial intelligence in cyber operations. So, as I said, a little bit about me. I'm located just up the road from Marist, there just outside Albany. I spent the better part of the last 20 years working around a number of companies in the digital industrial space. Last 5 years, though, has been most interesting. And that, what I've been doing is, as companies want to adopt new business processes, new technologies, clouds and automation in factory spaces and analytics and all these type of new technologies they want to adopt, they need to adopt them in a secure manner. And that's what I do, is I work with organizations on adopting these newer technologies and doing it securely. Because I think we've all seen in the news what happens when you don't plan, you don't adopt these technologies in a secure fashion. I hold a number of security certifications, and I'm actually a practitioner. I have worked in pretty much every aspect of IT over my career. I started out pulling cables, so I've done everything from pulling cables. I've been an app developer, I was actually an old cold fusion developer many years ago. Worked through the network space, and I've been in security for about the last 15 or so years, kind of focused in there. So mainline information systems. I'm the security architect located in Albany, as I said, but Mainline is, a 30-year-old technology innovation company. And we work with a number of different companies: IBM, Cisco, HPE, Palo Alto, Splunk, Red Hat, and really being able to mold the best security solution for your organization. So we're not focused on a particular, one type of product. We work with you to find out what the best one is, that fits your needs. You know, I always start out these presentations with a couple thoughts, just kind of lay the groundwork for where you need to be thinking of AI and cyber operations. And AI is still that, kind of that type of concept that a lot of organizations, a lot of people think different things about. I hear a lot of times AI mixed up with the concept of automation. And, they do kind of run parallel to each other in some regards, especially when it comes to IT and cybersecurity operations. But I always like, to focus in on some quotes just to kind of set the table here a little bit. And, the one on the lower right, from John McCarthy, who is, one of the original minds behind artificial intelligence. And I think he hits the nail on the head there. Is as soon as it works, no one calls it AI anymore. And that's true, because what will happen is AI will be part of everything you will do in your business processes and everything. I mean, think of, when we, if you go back a ways and everything to the original cloud adoption, cloud was this, this thing that people didn't really understand and everything. And now it's essentially, part of our everyday IT business. But I think the quote that, kind of hits the nail on the head was actually just like about 2 weeks ago at IBM Think. And it was from, the new IBM CEO. And he said that every company will become an AI company. And that is absolutely true. Is that AI will integrate in some way into everything that you do. And in particular, it will integrate into your cybersecurity operations. It fits really well in that regard. And as we go through this presentation, I hope to be able to show you where AI will fit well for you. So the term AI ops, AI ops combines the concept of big data, machine learning, and automating your IT operations. One of the biggest challenges we all face is finding the appropriate number of IT staff nowadays. Labor issues have been documented, all over the place regarding finding the IT staff to be able to fill roles inside of your organization. And that's one of the places where AI ops is going to fit. It's going to some of those tasks that you can use AI in, and I'll go into them later on regarding threat hunting and various other things. But I want to kind of level set here regarding the 4 types of AI, right, and how they fit into an operation, the cyber operations model, right? You have reactive, which everyone remembers Deep Blue versus the chess master Kasparov, and it just simply reacts to what is presently in front of it. Right. If you think of it like this, it analyzes what it sees and then makes an appropriate, action based on a set of rules. No analytics involved here. It's purely an event-driven executed response. Presently, most cybersecurity AI that you'll hear is in this space. It is simply seeing something, and it will, based on a set number of parameters, make a corrective action. Next is limited memory. Now, self-driving cars. You're going to see the self-driving trucks and things like that, where they have the ability to, kind of remember, kind of look back and everything. This is where you're going to see in the next couple of years much more in the IT operations and cybersecurity operations space. You're going to see a lot more focus here. Those of you that are, you know, um, if you think about it, any of your, user and entity behavior analytics falls into this space. Right. So being able to identify that, normally a user logs in, say Albany, and then all of a sudden a user logs in Germany. That's something that's where this plays a part in that regard. Theory of mind is the understanding of emotions. This is understanding the why something takes place, which is usually one of those things from a cybersecurity operations standpoint is very difficult to understand why an event takes place. Usually involves putting together some sort of RCA or something along those lines, but the why. And then of course, self-aware, which is, the ability for AI to understand itself. So presently, as I was kind of leading up to here, where we are with cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, it's limited in adoption. It has been, it's still in that reactive state that I described earlier. It's in the, you know, things get detected, things get executed based on being detected, right? It is reactionary. It is looking for, what do you want me to do with this? What do you want me to do with this piece of data? You have to give me instructions, right? And the problem there is trouble with the data itself. Security people have a natural inclination of collecting vast amounts of data, right? We are known for over collecting data. That practice, that habit needs to change. We need to be much more tactical with how we view data. And one of the other problems here, and this is not really a technical problem, but it comes down to trust. Do IT organizations trust AI to perform the analysis and execute a change off of that analysis without a human having to oversee or review that change? That is a difficult concept for many organizations, right? Falls under the law of unintended consequences, as I like to say, that, AI could potentially be tricked in executing a change that might be detrimental to the organization. So it comes down to what you'll hear me talk about here is strength of the data and the data that you're actually making, that you're having AI perform its analysis and decision-making functions off of. But one of the best uses of AI in your organization that I've seen done is actually network traffic pattern analysis. This is it's a really good fit for it. Same thing with malware analysis and phishing diagnostics, right? These are very good places in your organization where AI can have a fit and be able to tell you what you need to know without and still have that human interaction. It can provide the report, it can provide the analysis work, it can also offload some of the work from your cybersecurity operations teams so they can focus in on things. Now, I put down here on the slide also chatbots. There are a lot of uses, for chatbots uh, using AI. Some of them good, some of them not so good. One of the really good use of artificial intelligence across a business actually is what the United Bank of Africa has done. They've incorporated AI across the board, but in particular, they did it inside their cybersecurity operations. And there's a lot written about that, about what they've done as well. Microsoft Tay is an example of maybe what can go wrong. with AI and cybersecurity operations. TAY is actually an acronym. It is thinking about you. And what TAY was, it was a chatbot that was actually deployed on Twitter. Just between you and I, Twitter is not a place where you want to use as a good source of data to learn for your chatbot to learn from. Microsoft very quickly had some problems with it and had to take it down. There's lots of things documented about that as well out on the internet. IBM actually recently, at Think, launched the integration of AI ops with Watson, and that sounds like a very promising approach for AI operations and utilizing all the capabilities on the Watson platform. And lastly, AWS. Those of you that are familiar with some of the machine learning and AI in AWS, I've used SageMaker actually regarding cybersecurity. Some of the cybersecurity operations work that I've done in the past. So, where AI can improve cybersecurity, threat hunting, the natural fit. Honestly, it is. Being when most of your organizations are dealing with everything from people trying to do a denial of service attack to APTs, the advanced persistent threats to state actors or anything along those lines. Threat hunting is a great application there, where you might have a particular piece of traffic that was seen 6 months ago. You and I, maybe we remember it. Most people can't remember what they did last week. AI will remember. AI will identify the traffic pattern. AI will be able to say, hey, I remember this. I remember seeing something similar to this, and be able to flag it, raise it up from an alert standpoint and say, hey, you need to take a look at this because this is not normal behavior. As I said earlier, you have detecting and classifying malware. Really good area, be able to identify trends in software. Many times, people who write phishing emails or any sort of malware, they have certain patterns in which they write their code. Great use there. Phishing analysis. Offload that phishing analysis from your operations teams. Use AI to perform the analysis, use automation to process, the various tickets and things like that. And lastly, it goes right along the lines of threat hunting, but insider threat. It's still fortunate many organizations view threats external. You need to operate as if your threats are equal, externally and internally. Essentially, operate under the mindset of a zero trust. And really being able to use AI in cybersecurity operations from threat hunting and also looking at insider threat activity. These four items here: threat hunting, malware, phishing analysis, and insider threat activity are four easy areas where you can adopt AI in order to improve your cybersecurity operations posture. So, lastly, ways that you can make things better in order to bring AI and your cybersecurity operations together. You've heard me say this. Already. Data. Be tactical in your data collection. Do not have the need to collect everything. People in cybersecurity are naturally inclined to collect everything and fill up vast amount of storage. You can do that, but don't feed all of that data into your AI model. Be very tactical on what you want to do. Train your model. That is key. But think of all these lines, focus on risk. Focus on the areas of data that you feel will give you the best benefit. Knowledge. I'm a security practitioner. I've been a security practitioner for years. I do not know data. I do not know data management. There are other people that are data scientists, that are analytics experts. and all them, bring those people in, right? Don't try to have your SOC analysts, your threat hunters perform the data analytics work. Partner with people that know how to do this best. The subject matter experts, those people. And lastly, speed. AI is only good if it is very fast. From a cybersecurity standpoint, it needs to be timely. It needs to be able to give you the results that you need when as quickly as possible so that it could be beneficial to your organization. Waiting, for well past an event takes place, it really is not going to be beneficial. So the trick there is, as I said, in the two previous ones, data. Be tactical with your data. Bring in people that are experts in this area in order to be able to refine what AI is using to make its decisions. So lastly, I want to thank you all for attending this session today. And once again, I'm going to stay in the chat room. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.